Hey, weavers of light, welcome in. I hope that you're all doing well. So, every particle that forms creation is, in essence, a living being, an individual consciousness. This consciousness is a manifestation of the most fundamental form of energy, which is light. Light, in this context, isn't just a physical phenomenon. It is a vibrational essence that holds the potential for everything in existence. These particles are not simply inert building blocks, but sentient beings alive in the most primal form, with their own intelligence and awareness, however subtle that might be. When directed, these particles come together in harmony, forming the fabric of reality we experience. They respond to intention and energy, organizing themselves into the structures and patterns that create the material world around us. Manifestation, therefore, isn't merely about physical actions or external tools. It is the process of directing energy through intention, focusing the flow of consciousness in such a way that it shapes our reality. The energy moving around these particles is the force that directs them to organize and form the physical structures and experiences that we perceive as reality. At the core of this process is intention, the directive energy that shapes our desires and influences the manifestation of our visions. The clearer and more aligned our intentions are, the more easily the energy flows, directing these particles into the reality we seek. Passion plays a pivotal role here as well. It is the fuel that propels these intentions forward, infusing the process with power and momentum. And when we are deeply passionate about something, we imbue it with a potent force that quickens its manifestation. However, the key to effortless manifestation is to focus on the outcome and not on the process. When we remain fixated on the process, we often hinder the natural flow of creation. The universe responds to clarity, and so when we focus on the desired end result with confidence, the energy flows to shape that outcome with greater ease. The process in its organic unfolding will take care of itself. This idea ties deeply into the Ascension process, which is a journey of evolution and awakening. And as we rise in frequency and awareness, we move through a period of great change and transformation. It is easy to become overwhelmed by the complexities of this transformation. But what is important is to remain in the energy of grace, ease, and flow. And by cultivating a state of peaceful alignment and detachment from struggle, we allow the natural unfolding of our highest potential. As we go through these shifts, we learn that the universe needs our surrender to flow and to trust that everything is happening exactly as it should. As we ascend, we will increasingly become aware of the delicate dance between intention and surrender. Manifestation and transformation are not about forcing the change, but about aligning ourselves with the flow of creation and letting our passions guide the energy into the reality we wish to co create. Grace, ease, and flow are the keys that allow us to move through these changes with the least resistance. helping us rise into the highest versions of ourselves. For creation is not a matter of hard effort or control, right? But a collaboration with the fundamental energy of the universe. It invites us to trust in our ability to direct this energy, guided by our intentions and fueled by our passions, while embracing the ease of the process, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The tension between comfort and change is a deeply human experience, and one that's integral to the process of transformation, both personally and collectively. Change, especially when it involves stepping into the unknown, often requires an external force or an internal push that jolts us out of our comfortable, familiar state. Our daily routines, beliefs, and familiar surroundings act as anchors, not because they are the best options for our growth, but because they provide a sense of stability, security, and predictability. And so, comfort can become a trap, one that, while safe, prevents us from evolving into the next stage of our lives. The universe, however, has its own laws and rhythms, right? Just as the universe itself is always expanding, so too is the consciousness of humanity. And so, when it is time for growth, often an invisible force steps in to disrupt our perceived equilibrium. This can manifest in many forms: an unexpected event, a shift in circumstances, or an internal urge to break free from stagnation. This is the force of change, nudging us, or sometimes even shoving us into the unknown. It can feel jarring and unsettling, but it is in these moments of discomfort where the seeds of transformation are planted. For the universe or higher consciousness recognizes that our growth is on the other side of discomfort, and so it gives us the push we need to leave behind what no longer serves us. Oftentimes, we may experience physical discomfort or illness during times of intense change. This is the body's way of manifesting the stress we feel about moving into uncharted territory. We might find ourselves physically tired, unmotivated, or even unwell when faced with these big shifts. In these moments of resistance, however, roadblocks begin to form. Resistance, while natural, creates a blockage in the flow of energy. Energy is always moving, right? Always in flux, and it needs to be able to flow freely to manifest new realities. When we resist change, we create tension within ourselves, and that tension disrupts the natural flow of energy that would otherwise guide us forward. This tension acts like a dam holding back the current of potential. The more we resist, the more stagnant the energy becomes, making it harder for us to move forward. The roadblocks are manifestations of this disruptive flow. They arise because the universe is trying to move us toward growth, but our resistance is creating an internal imbalance. The obstacles are not punishments, right, but signposts meant to help us understand where our energy is stuck and where we need to soften, to release, to surrender, and to trust. And so, beloveds, remember that change is not something to fear, but something to welcome. For it is through change that we evolve into our highest potential. When we trust in the process and move with the flow, we can transcend resistance and co create the reality we desire. And so, from my heart song to yours, I send you peace, love, and light. Namaste.